don't understand people's reaction that we're doing it on the cheap and we should be getting another number 2. I mean, apart from the fact that I don't believe for a minute we get a number 2 in the 4th division who'd be better than Joe Murphy and prepared to sit on the bench anyway. He's player coach, so we're getting him for a fraction of the playing price if he's needed to come in. The other one, Connor Robson, I mean, I think he's 21 this year, so he shouldn't be that far off being a number 2, and I think he was signed on Murphy's recommendation anyway. So yeah, I mean, no-brainer is the word on that one. It's a 1-year one, so I'm assuming after that 1 year he'll give up playing completely, which I get the impression he wants to do. And then the Connor Robson will be the number 2, and Joe will just be a coach. But yeah, I think it makes absolutely perfect sense.
I mean, to be fair, about 12 months ago, we were probably saying the same thing with regards to Joe and giving up at the end of this season, but he has committed to play for another year. I have seen those people who've said that it's doing things on the cheap and whatnot as well. But I think for me, the point would be he is number 2 goalkeeper because Tranmere have currently got, for my money, one of the best goalkeepers in League 2 ahead of him. There's absolutely no point in signing some high price, high wage backup number 2 who is going to cost a little bit more money because they're not going to displace Luke McGee. Luke McGee is that good. We've seen that over the last 7 or 8 months that he is an outstanding goalkeeper. So there's no way that he's going to be dropped from the team unless he has an absolutely stinking run of form. And if he does, then Joe Murphy is more than capable of coming in and playing in his place. Goalkeepers, I mean, touch wood, I'm maybe putting the curse on him now, but goalkeepers very rarely get significantly injured to the point where they would be out for a long period of time. And if they are, or if McGee does befall that fate, then Murphy would be capable of coming in. But it absolutely makes sense to have someone who is covering both those roles as goalkeeper coach and backup goalkeeper. And as you say, you've got Connor Robson there if and when needed as well. I mean, this is the path that Tranmere went down in the late 2000s and the early 2010s when John Achterberg was goalkeeper coach and also backup goalkeeper for a period. You had Eric Nixon fulfilling those duties at the start of the 2000s. So to me, it is just a sensible thing to do. If the club is strapped for cash, then why splash out money on another number 2 when you've got one there waiting who's happy to play?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It'd be a complete waste of money to do that, to have 2 separate salaries. You're not going to replace McGee, and if McGee was going to be a number 2, he wouldn't want to stay anyway. I mean, he's easily one of the best in this division, if not higher. So I think this suits everybody.
Let's discuss the one then that is perhaps slightly more Marmite with the supporters, and I will go through because I put out a tweet yesterday asking for people to get in touch with their thoughts on this. Harvey Saunders has penned a 2-year deal. Saunders obviously joined the club in January of last year. His goal-scoring return has not been great, but at times we have certainly seen the impact that he can have on the way Nigel Adkins wants Tranmere to play. I mean, I think that very much depends on who else is on the pitch as well, because I think since Luke Norris has come into the team, Tranmere have actually changed the way that they want to play and the way that they've been successful playing. And I think that has maybe been to the detriment of Harvey Saunders and the performances that he has been able to put in. But give me your thoughts on Harvey Saunders getting a new 2-year deal.
I always suspected Nigel Adkins wanted to keep him. I'm surprised it's 2 years, but on the other hand, it's not going to be a big wage. I can't see people knocking his door down to take him away from us. He does give us something very different. Works his socks off, which I think Adkins likes in a player. And he's got some real pace, which at this level I think makes a big difference. His finishing, okay, you can work on his finishing, I think. I think 2 years. 2 years, in a way, I think they've looked at him and thought there's potential to turn him into a scorer as well as everything else. I mean, if he was scoring goals for all the chances he gets and makes for himself with his pace, he wouldn't be in the 4th division. He'd be a phenomenal asset for somebody to have. So I think 2 years, they must have enough confidence in him, in themselves, that they can turn him into something and then not lose him at the end of next season for nothing, which has happened far too regularly recently. So I've always had the feeling that Atkins was going to keep him. 2 years, slightly surprised, but I do think there's a player in there. We can keep him upright sometimes because he has a tendency to go down a bit too easily. But that pace is terrific when he gets going. If we have people in the middle who can actually play through balls to utilise that better, what you used to do with Malkin in particular, then I think it'll be a real weapon next year.